Wars began and swords were crossed because of her. She dictated her will to France, but was ultimately subservient to love. Rumors swirled of a romance with her own brother. Such was her influence over the general. This is the story of Geneviève de Longueville, a princess from the House of Condé, a demon with the face of an angel. The beautiful girl began to show her claws at a young age, but no one dared to oppose her. As the daughter of two illustrious houses, Montmorency and Bourbon-Condé, and a close relative of the King of France, she was expected to wield power. She was born in a prison where her rebellious father had been locked away for his own protection. The prince was plotting against the favorite of Queen Marie de Medici, but his fervor was quelled at the Château de Vincennes. His wife chose to follow him there. In the fortress, Geneviève was born, along with her brothers. Once freed, Prince Condé did not rest. While their parents schemed, the children were sent to different educational institutions, and Geneviève was placed in a Carmelite convent, while her brother Louis ended up at a military academy on Rue de Temple. Only the youngest, the capricious and sickly Armand, remained with their mother, and Geneviève excelled in her studies, obeying the rules of the nuns, yet she remained true to herself, proud, willful, and never forgetting for a moment that she belonged to the Bourbon lineage. A severe blow to her pride came when her uncle was executed. It was then that the young woman realized that noble birth and immense wealth could not guarantee freedom and life in France. She understood this and etched it into her memory. In the year 1635, Princess Condé was introduced to the court. The fair-haired, blue-eyed beauty, sharp-tongued and witty, charmed many. In the famous salon of Madame de Rambouillet, she was welcomed with open arms. Meanwhile, her parents were searching for a husband, one notable and influential enough to ally with their illustrious family. Ultimately, Geneviève was married off to a widower, 24 years her senior, the governor of Normandy, the Duc de Longueville. The aging duke suffered from gout. He was neither a tyrant nor a fool, but he could not ignite the heart of his young wife. And Geneviève suffered in this marriage, and naturally, she attracted admirers. She had been the object of affection before, but once she became a married woman, and Geneviève truly blossomed. Etiquette frowned upon the romantic escapades of young maidens, but a married woman could indulge in such pursuits. Soon, her husband's former lover, Madame de Montbazon, made public Geneviève's letters to Count de Coligny. To defend the lady's honor, the young man challenged the offending cavalier, the Duke of Guise, to a duel. The duel ended tragically for Coligny, and the French court made dark jokes, suggesting that the House of Guise was indeed a curse for Coligny. A century earlier, another Guise had also sent a member of that family to the grave. But the story did not end there. Since the honor of Princess de Bourbon was at stake, Madame de Montbazon was compelled to publicly apologize to Geneviève. This act sparked an all-out war between the two women. The court was divided. Some supported Montbazon, while others rallied behind the Duchess de Longueville. Once, Geneviève accompanied her husband to Munster, where negotiations were underway to end the 30 Years' War. The clever and resourceful young woman made a significant impact on the proceedings, arguably more than her husband, who had been appointed as the negotiator. The beauty was celebrated as the goddess of peace and harmony, and Geneviève became increasingly convinced of her own power. A turning point came with her relationship with Prince de Marsillac. He sought additional privileges for himself, but ultimately failed. However, he managed to turn Geneviève against Anna of Austria and Cardinal Mazarin. The beautiful woman devised an audacious plan. What if she could orchestrate the removal of the cardinal? Even better, what if she could seize control of the entire affair, France itself, and appoint her own brother as regent for the young Louis? This brother was the renowned general, Prince Louis II de Bourbon-Condé. Initially, he was skeptical of his sister's suggestion to lead a rebellion. But when Geneviève began to act independently, the prince saw she was making progress. The parliament sided with the beauty. She had a way of influencing minds. Gradually, the prince's attitude toward the queen began to shift. He had ended a long-standing war and expected rewards and positions of power, but he was overlooked. Angered, he joined his sister, and Genevieve made little effort to hide her affair with Prince Marsillac. When her latest child, Charles Paris Orleans, was born, her husband acknowledged him. But who could doubt the true paternity? Paris openly congratulated Marsillac. The sharp contemporary, Paul de Gondy, dedicated several pages in his memoirs to this episode. The confrontation between Genevieve and the Queen escalated into war, known as the Fronde. For several years, France became a battlefield. Cities burned, the war-torn country cursed the fighting factions, while the Duchess gradually lost friends and lovers. Her growing ambition pushed even her closest allies away. Prince de Marsillac parted ways with her, and Longueville drew closer to the Duke of Nemours, not Aramis, as Alexander Dumas suggested. The Duchess's brothers and husband were arrested, and Genevieve managed to secure their release after a year, leading to a new phase of the conflict, but it was already a dying struggle. The conspirators faced defeat. The former favorite of the Duchess, Prince de Marsillac, was blinded in the battle for Paris. Her beloved brother, Prince Condé, fled the country. The youngest received a pardon. And Genevieve? She was no longer needed by anyone. She was allowed to withdraw from the court to Normandy. The Duchess's disappointment was so profound that she spent the rest of her life quietly and almost unnoticed. She engaged in charity work and studied the new religious movement of Jansenism. She no longer attempted to play any significant role in France. Her inner demons had quieted. She remained immortalized in numerous portraits, beautiful, like an angel. But her gaze betrayed her. There was neither meekness nor humility in it. She was too proud a princess for a tumultuous age.